Peace. This is your host, Selah, Shalom. And the topic of discussion today is called, In the Beginning, Angels Walked the Earth. Now, when we examine most ancient texts, it speaks of angels, gods, netarus, being present in the beginning with mortals. We see that in Genesis, where the Lord conversed with Adam. We see that in the Babylonian text, where the Anunnakis are present with primitive man. And even in the Egyptian hieroglyphs, we see Osiris, in the presence of mortals. So there has always been a presence of angels and gods among mortals. Now there was a time in the beginning of the inhabitation of the earth where angels were commanded to visit the earth through the command of the Creator, as stated in the book of Jehovah, chapter 6, verse 13. Verse 13. I spake in the firmament, and my voice reached to the utmost places. And there came in answer to the sounds of my voice, myriads of angels from the roadway in heaven, where the earth travelleth. I said to them, Behold, a new world have I created. Come ye and enjoy it. Yea, ye shall learn from it how it was with other worlds in ages past. So here the Creator instruct angels to visit the earth. And at this time, the earth is a new world in its beginning stages. Now, the verse stated, he called the angels from the roadways of heaven. What are the roadways of heaven? These are the orbit routes of the solar system and their planets. This is the C Vorkum in the OAHSPE, as it mentions. The C Vorkum is the chief vortex. It is the roadway in orbit of the solar system. Now, who are these angels that was commanded to come to earth in the beginning? Book of Jehovah, chapter 6, verse 12, it states, verse 12, I looked over the wide heavens that I have made, and I saw countless millions of spirits of the dead that had lived and died on other corporeal worlds before the earth was made. So these angels are spirits of the dead that lived once on their native planet before the earth was made. So basically, these angels were one-time mortals just like us today. Just to be clear on that. Because some people believe that angels was created out of thin air, which makes no sense. Not knowing all angels started off as terrestrial human beings. And after death is when you become an angel. It's a system in order to creation. Now, Book of Jehovah, chapter 6, verse 14, it states, There alightened upon the new earth millions of angels from heaven, but many of them had never fulfilled a corporeal life, having died in infancy. And these angels comprehended not procreation, nor corporeal life. So here it states that millions of angels appeared on the earth. But notice it states something very important. It said, many of them had never fulfilled the corporeal life, having died in infancy. Now, this is very important to understand because what it's saying is that these particular angels never lived a flesh life, a physical life like how we're living today. It stated many of these angels died in infancy. The same way today we bear witness to infancy death. But little do we know that the spirit of these infants continue to grow in spirit, becoming residents of the spirit world or atmospheric world. So now these angels that never experienced a physical life is now experiencing one. Now, in the book of Satanis, son of Jehovah, chapter 1, verse 1, it states, verse 1, In the beginning of the inhabitation of the earth, the angels of heaven assembled in Hored, a heavenly plateau resting on the earth. So it's clear that these angels assembled on a heavenly plateau resting on the earth. It stated Hored. Now, where is this location on earth? Now, in the book of Jehovah, chapter 8, verse 16 through 18, it gives this location, verse 16. And Jehovah caused the angels of atmospheria to assemble together and organize the first kingdom of the heaven of the earth. And the place was called Hored, because it was the place of the first organic abiding place for the first God of this world. See that? So here it states that this was the first heavenly kingdom set up on earth. So now where is this location? Verse 17. And Hored was situated over and above the mountains Eyoten, and Ugakwa, to the eastward of Ul, of that country hereafterward called the continent of Pan. See that? So now we have the location. This heavenly kingdom was located on the continent of Pan, which was located in the Pacific Ocean. And it's stated, above the mountains, eastward of the continent. This is where your Garden of Eden was located. Even in the Bible it states that the garden was planted eastward of Eden, as stated in Genesis 2 verse 8. And the Lord planted a garden eastward in Eden, and there he put the man whom he formed. So this is the continent of Pan that we're dealing with. Now another interesting thing stated is that these angels rested on a plateau on the continent of Pan. Now let's define what a plateau is. A plateau, also called a high plain or a tableland, is an area of high land, usually consisting of relatively flat terrain that is raised significantly above the surrounding area. So basically these angels were on a high flat terrain on earth. Here are some examples of plateaus. So these angels were physically manifested as sentinel beings, as stated in the book of Jehovah chapter 6 verse 16. It states, verse 16, and now was the earth in the later days of Simu. Simu is the time of creation. And the angels could readily take on corporeal bodies for themselves. Out of the elements of the earth clothe they themselves, by force of their wills, with flesh and bone, by the side of the Asuans, the primitive man Adamites, took they on corporeal forms. See that? So by force of their own will, clothe themselves with the elements of the earth. Elements are minerals. So these angels had flesh and bone. Flesh is carbon-based, and bones is calcium-based, and phosphorus-based. So that's important to know, because it's not like they came with flesh bodies made of the material not of this earth or wherever they came from, but instead by force of their own will used the minerals of the earth to take upon corporeal forms. So even if we found skeletons of these beings, we wouldn't even know that they were extraterrestrials, because they clothed themselves with the minerals of the earth. And another important thing is stated, by the side of the Asuans are primitive man, the Adamites, took they on corporeal form. From the side is symbolic to the rib of Eve and the creation of the Eve story in the Bible. But in this instance, Eve would be representation of the angels appearing to man. Bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. So now you can see how the false angels or the false gods, when they created the false Garden of Eden story, how they took pieces and bits of pieces of the original account. Now, here is the name of the angel in charge. In the book of Penalties, son of Jehovah, chapter 1, verse 2 and 3, it states, verse 2, And the archangel Satanis was the wisest of them all. And he said unto them, verse 3, Behold, we have come from far off heavens. By the voice of Jehovah came we to partake of the glory of the red star, the earth. Jehovah said unto us, Come ye and enjoy the new world I have created. Partake ye of all the fruits thereof, except the tree of knowledge, which is the fountain of life. Partake ye not of this, lest ye die. See, this command was given to the angels. But in the Garden of Eden, in the story that you have in the Bible, that command was given to Adam. So OAHSPE is clearing up the truth about what really took place in the beginning with these angels. So here we have the name of the chief archangel in charge, Satanis. Now Satanis is telling the angel host what was instructed to him by the Creator, which was to enjoy the earth, partake of the fruits, all the fruit trees that they have. Their body will assimilate because they clothe themselves with the material of the earth, so it will coincide with their body. But the flip side, he stated to them, is not to partake of the tree of knowledge, with the tree of life, meaning not to procreate, which is the tree of life, because they came to the earth to do a work for Jehovah and then go their way. But if they partake of the tree of life, then they will be bound to the earth through the blood and through their offspring. Now, book of Jehovah chapter 6 verse 15, it states, And I said, Go and deliver Adam, the Adamites, primitive man, from darkness, and he shall also rise in spirit to inherit my Etherian worlds. So here the commandment was to deliver man out of darkness, meaning that man at that time was unconscious of who he was. So the angels were sent to educate man and to explain to him his inheritance in the Etherian kingdoms. Now verse 17 states, "And I said, Go ye forth and partake of all that is on the earth, but partake ye not of the tree of life, lest in that labor you become procreators, and as if dead to the heavens whence ye came." See that? So here the angels are commanded to partake of all of the earth except the tree of life. Now the tree of life is basically the reproductive system, because that is the system in the body that deals with prolonging life, continuing the bloodline. And just like a tree, the roots spread abroad. So these angels are not native to the earth. And if they partake of the tree of life, they will be bound to the earth through their offsprings. And to show how these angels who died in infancy was unconscious of physical life, it states in the book of Jehovah chapter 7 verse 20, it states verse 20, "The angels understood the commandments of Jehovah according to their knowledge in the Etherian heavens, being heirs of other planets, and having died in infancy, and having matured in the spirit world. But they understood not the Creator in the practice of the lower heavenly kingdoms, wherefore their knowledge was incomplete." See that? See, these angels died in infancy on their native planet, going through the first, second, and third resurrection on their native planet, and then graduating to the Etherian worlds off their native planet. So now, being graduated Etherian beings, Jehovah commanded them to come to earth. So being that they never experienced the physical life, their knowledge is incomplete. And this will be a lesson learned for these angels, although they were advanced in the etheric knowledge. See that? Book of Jehovah chapter 6 verse 18 it states, "But those who had never learned corporeal things, being imperfect in wisdom, comprehended not Jehovah's word, and they dwelt with the Asuans, the Adamites, primitive man, and were tempted, and partook of the fruit of the tree of life. And lo and behold, they saw their own nakedness. And there was born of the first race a new race called man. And Jehovah took the earth out of the travel of Simu, and the angels gave up their corporeal bodies." So here it states that the angels mated with primitive man. Now keep in mind, the angels that interbred were the angels that had not fulfilled the physical life, so they was incomplete in wisdom. These were the angels that died in infancy, so the temptation would be great for these angels who never experienced the physical life. Now being that the angels were flesh and bone, flesh and blood, at this point containing all the organs a human would have, so these angels would have had seed to reproduce. These angels carry the blood type of O negative. That is the only blood type that is considered foreign to the animal kingdom. The animal kingdom is made up of blood types A and B, but O is considered a foreign or rare blood type. So the O blood negative can well be traced to these first angels that mated with the first race of man. And the bloodline been here ever since. Now being that these angels were commanded not to partake of the tree of life, the Creator Jehovah instructs them what to do next. Book of Jehovah chapter 7, verse 6 through 7 it states, "Behold the work ye have taken in hand. It was commanded to you all to partake of the fruit of the earth except the fruit of the tree of life, which is the knowledge of the earth and heaven. Behold the work ye have taken in hand. It was commanded to you all to partake of all the fruits of the earth except the fruit of the tree of knowledge, which is the knowledge of the earth and heaven, lest ye lose your inheritance in Etheria." See that? This is what it's about, losing your inheritance in Etheria. That was the whole ordeal for these angels. That's why he said don't partake of the tree of life, because you will be bound to the earth and you will not be on your way ascending back to where you was going originally. So the penalty of partaking of the tree of life was losing their inheritance in the Etherian kingdoms. In the Bible, God cursed Adam and Eve for partaking of the tree of life, but the real loss was the angels losing their inheritance in the Etherian heaven and being bound to the earth through their offspring, through the blood. Now in the book of Jehovah chapter 7 verse 7 it states, "Behold, ye now have sons and daughters on earth. By your love to them are ye bound, By your love to them are ye become bound spirits of the lower heavens, until ye redeem them in wisdom and power, even unto the sixth generation, ye shall not again rise and inherit my emancipated heavens. So here the Creator give them 6 generations, which is 200 years, to redeem themselves and their offsprings before getting their inheritance or returning back to the Etherian realm. So since they are bound for 200 years, Jehovah instruct them further. Book of Jehovah chapter 7 verse 21 and 22 it states, verse 21, Jehovah said, I condemn ye not because ye have become joint procreators with the Asuans or primitive mans. So here he didn't curse him, he didn't condemn him. And then it states, for ye have done 2 services unto me, which are to teach yourselves corporeal things, that ye may understand and sympathize with corporeans. And secondly, because ye have caused the earth to become people with such as are capable of immortality. So 2 things came out of this situation. The angels who died in infancy can now become educated in physicality. And in the second, the offsprings will be capable of immortality, meaning surviving after death in the spirit world. Verse 22, behold ye now what shall happen on earth. Such as are of your flesh and kin who cohabit together shall rise in wisdom and virtue. But such of them as cohabit with the Asuans, primitive men, will bring forth heirs in the descending grade of life. The first shall bring forth heirs unto everlasting life, but the second shall bring forth heirs that shall go down in darkness. See that? And the last thing, in OAHSPE chapter 1 verse 20 and 21 it states, and all such shall be my chosen, by the covenant and by their works shall they be known henceforth on the earth as mine, and shall be called faithis. Verse 21. But to as many as will not make these covenants have I given the number of the beasts, and they shall be called Usain, signifying destroyers. And these shall be henceforth the 2 kinds of people on earth, faithis and Usains. So right there is summoning up the 2 lineages, or the 2 mentalities that will exist on earth. The peaceful mentality, building, developing, progressing, and then you have the war mentality, the destructful mentality, those who want to do nothing but destruction and pillage the land. So those are the 2 which you have going on, those who will serve righteousness and those who will not. And with that, I'd like to say peace and blessings and catch you on the next documentary. Shalom.